The title of today's talk is The True Fountain of Youth. The True Fountain of Youth. When we look at the myth of the fountain of youth, the idea was if you could drink from this fountain, this was an old myth, an allegory, if you drink from this fountain, you'll stay perpetually young. You won't age, your skin won't wrinkle, your hair won't turn gray. You'll keep your strength, your muscle tone. You'll be able to have a high metabolism, eat what you want to eat. You'll be young, always young. And not only will you be young, you can have longevity. You're going to live a long, healthy life, an immortal life, because it's the fountain of youth. So longevity without youthfulness can be a burden. So here we are getting older, chronologically older, gaining experiences, gaining wisdom, knowledge, but biologically not aging past a certain point. That's the ideal or the myth of the fountain of youth. And humanity's been in search of it since the beginning of time. How can we stay here on this earth physically? So we're going to go into today some of the physiology, the biology, the nutritional, the spiritual, and psychological aspects of this eternal youth, the eternal youthfulness that all seek. So people who wouldn't normally want to get old, many people say, gee, I wouldn't want to get old. I'd like to leave this earth before I become infirm or decrepit or dependent on other people. Say, but if I can be eternally youthful, and particularly also if my loved ones could stay, so I don't have to see them leave, this would be a wonderful situation. So all would like that fountain of youth. We're going to go into the full dynamics of how to realize an aspect of that. Not that we become immortal, but certainly where we can have long, healthy lives, much longer than we know about at this time. Along the lines of the physiology, the biology of the situation, been some new discoveries over the last 5 years or so. One being called telomeres. Telomeres are the tail end of the chromosome. And we found out that to the extent that you have a longer telomere, then your cells have more divisions left in them. They can keep dividing longer, and your life will be longer. When cells can no longer divide, then you have death. So the capacity to keep reproducing themselves is essential to life. Your body replaces all its cells about every 7 years. You have to keep duplicating, they have to divide, reproduce themselves. So these telomeres, the tail end, sort of like the cap on a shoelace, it keeps it from unraveling. So it gets shorter and shorter, your lifespan gets shorter and shorter. So the question is, how do we make them get longer or keep them from getting smaller? Well, one way that's been discovered is what's called calorie restriction. You cut down how many calories you eat every day. That will keep your telomeres from shrinking more. A lot of people don't want to do that. They want to be able to eat and enjoy life, not starve themselves. Well, fortunately, there have been some other discoveries where you can do that also. We found that resveratrol, which you can get from a number of sources, including red grapes, is what's called a calorie restriction mimetic. It imitates the effect of that. It will keep the telomeres from shrinking, as well as quercetin and grapeseed extract. So the list keeps growing of what kind of nutrition, particularly in concentrated form of food supplements, that we can take that will mimic calorie restrictions, which in turn prolongs life, allows greater, more prolonged cell divisions over our lifetimes. So the biological aspect. We also know, in the last research over the last 10 or 15 years from very reputable laboratories throughout the country, that as the body becomes active, if you're exercising or just in the process of living, we produce free radicals, and free radicals cause an aging dimension. So like you cut an apple exposed to the air, becomes oxidized free radicals, and it becomes brownish.